Hi, this is Jacob Allen with EDL 815 Mod 12. First off, we're going to define what tort is. And according to the book, a tort is an actionable or civil wrong committed against one person by another that is independent of contract, meaning outside of what their duties are. There are two types of tort, which are intentional and unintentional. So, intentional is just like it sounds, it's when a person commits the act on purpose. According to Dry, one of our other resources, there are four common types of intentional torts that are seen in educational settings: assault, battery, false imprisonment, and defamation. And then, as a general summary of I think about 3 or 4 articles said, as a teacher, if you use common sense, you can avoid being part of a tort lawsuit. So the first case that I have is the Frame versus Camo. And this was one of the two that I pulled from our own resources that were given to us. This one, the teacher forcibly removed the student during a spelling test from the room by arm and also caused the student to get knocked over. The parents then sued the teacher, saying, it was too abrupt and too violent for the situation where the student was at in that spelling test. The results of this was the court ruled in favor of the teacher, even though they did acknowledge he committed battery. As far as reactive measures, things that would happen afterwards, I'm sure this teacher probably got put on some sort of a contract or some sort of way to monitor the teacher and their behavior. There might have been a meeting afterwards talking about the right ways to interact with students. The proactive measures I think should be taken is what happens every year, where your principals come in and talk about just don't put them in tough places in the classroom. Don't get physical with students. Call somebody else to take care of stuff before you blow your lid. And then as far as professional ethics, I think the easy one would just be don't put your hands on students in any sort of way. Those show what should be preached. Next one I had again was from one of the sources we had, which was Flanagan versus Canton. A gym teacher had a rowdy class. The teacher then held students to have a discussion about behavior in the gym. While in the gym talking to those students, the students went down to the locker room. One student pushed another student, and it led to an emergency surgery for that student, so it cost that family a lot of money. The court ruled in favor of the student because the poor behavior was foreseeable, meaning the students were already acting poor. The teacher should have known that there might have been more foreseeable bad behavior. As far as reactive measures, again, I'm sure this teacher probably gets put on a contract of some sort, or they're being monitored. There might be instituted policies of there must be always somebody in the locker room when students are in there. And then proactive measures. This is another one where I think it would be important just to mention to the teachers that you should always be monitoring your students when you can. Don't pull one student and then have the rest of your class somewhere else. And then that kind of goes towards professional ethics as well as, again, keep supervision of your students as best as you can. The next one I actually found as I was looking on Facebook about a week ago, and I thought this is perfect for this lesson. This one is about a New Jersey baseball player who sued his coach because baseball player was heading into third and the coach told him to slide. The baseball player thought it was too late of a slide, and the player ended up breaking his leg, and it ruined his baseball career. Is essentially why the player decided to go with the lawsuit. The court did rule in favor of the coach after a long process, but essentially they were trying to figure out, was the coach being negligent? Was he not paying attention well enough at the game and then made a poor decision? As far as reactive measures, I think the same things would happen in my school that happened in this case of long drawn out court case, lots of testimonies as to what happened in the game. This coach might have be looked into to see, is this coach actually trained to coach baseball? Is this somebody that has a good background? Proactive measures that could have been taken. Again, this would probably be a hiring process thing where you'd make sure that this coach is ordered and is able to actually coach baseball with students. They have a background, they know how to coach safely. And then as far as professional ethics, when you're talking to any sort of coach, you should be telling them preach fundamentals and safety when playing right off the bat. Next one we've got is Munn versus Hotchkiss, one I looked up online. The school went on a field trip and the student was bit by a tick. The bite ended up causing neurological damage to the student and then permanently made the student mute. Student had no ability to speak anymore. They took the school district to court, and a court jury ruled in favor of the student because of negligent behavior, that proper clothing wasn't worn, and ticks weren't checked for because it was a pretty young group of students. As far as reactive measures, I think my school would probably say no more field trips for this teacher if they can't, prepare the right way. As far as proactive measures, I think my school does a nice job with this because they go on quite a few hikes, is making sure students know the paths ahead of time, that paths are submitted because all trails that you walk on have to be pre-approved by the district. Making sure good clothing, making sure you're wearing bug spray. And then as far as professional ethics, I think this is just an overarching discussion on field trips, where you're making sure every single thing for your field trip is ready, and that includes safety. The last one I have is Mitchell versus the Cedar Rapids School. There was 2 students in a special ed setting that left campus early from school. The school did mark their absences, but didn't take any further action. And then while the students were skipping, one student raped another one and then sued the school because they thought the school didn't take enough steps, knowing that these were special education students who could be in danger if they were going unsupervised outside of the school, during the school hours, but off the property. The court did rule in favor of the students, saying that the school should have taken more action. As far as reactive measures, this is one that's tough. I don't know necessarily what my school would do on this one. They would probably say, the students decided to make those decisions and may not punish the teachers, but then institute making sure, as going into future proactive measures, of if any students that's on an IEP or special education leaves the building, they contact those parents right away, and that's a must do. As far as professional ethics, this is another one where it's make sure you're keeping track of your students. If they do go somewhere you don't know where they're at, call somebody. Keep yourself in good standing. And then lastly, these are all my references for the different cases I used and the definitions I used. So thank you for watching.